Hi, my name is Jenifer Sanchez. This is my digital field observation video report for my EHD50 Spring 2021 class. My general observation and narrative. The classroom that stood out to me would be from the title, Small Groups and Individualized Math Instructions. These other titles as well was from the same teacher. I feel like that's why I put them out there. But the teacher taught the 3rd grade math. I feel like her classroom memorized me, and it stood out to me because her walls were very colorful. You know, it was appropriate for 3rd graders. You know, as well it had like posters that help students, you know, like they had a timeline on top of her board, and as well like she had posters, like she had like how much, you know, a quarter cost, how it looks like, you know, how much for it to make $1 and this and that. So I feel like that's a very appropriate, you know, classroom setting for the type, for the subject, and for the age. So that's what really stood out for me for that. As well, one specific incident that stood out would be from the video When a Lesson Goes Wrong, part 1. There's also part 2 in there. The teacher had a great lesson, an amazing lesson for her students. However, I feel like she didn't know how to really explain to her students how they were supposed to do it, or as well like the classroom before, she didn't give them like the right resources for them to know to come prepared to class to know how to do that worksheet. So I feel like that was one thing that, you know, that really stood out to me, because things like this really do happen when you really think, oh, you know, I know what to teach my students, or we're going to do this lesson plan. And in reality, the students don't really know too much information about that because we didn't give them the right resources, you know, and it's a learning process for us and for the students. So that way we know what works and what really doesn't work, or how we have to prepare. The students and the teachers' behavior, one video that stood out to me would be A Closer Look at Toni Morrison Beloved. I am memorized with this video because so much like the communication and the positivity there is in this video is just amazing, because, you know, the teacher has a positive, you know, and like wanting to communicate, and his students reciprocate that same energy. Like they're positive, you know, they're paying attention, they're participating nonstop. And I think that's really, really, you know, a really good behavior between teachers and students. One quote that stood with me, and it's not really a quote, but it's like the why. Like there's all of these teachers will be like, why this, why that? And I feel like, you know, it's a way for students to think and have to analyze the subject, and you can be like, okay, I think this is why, or this is the reason why. And it's also a conversation opener, because, you know, if a teacher asks them something, the students respond to the why, and but then maybe the student still has to be like, okay, but why this and that, you know. And there's just so much interaction for the class when, you know, there's so much why. So that's a quote that I am going to stick with, the why. Like, why this, why that? Please explain it to me so I know why you know this. Analyze and the conclusion. Connecting critical thinking and conclusion. Before this class, I would have, and anybody would have told me, you know, teaching is easy. And I even had a mentality, teaching is easy. But after this, you know, this course, the field observations, all of the resources that Dr. Waltz has given us, I feel like I would tell them no. Teaching is not easy. It's actually very hard. It's very complex, because you're dealing with so many diversity. You're dealing with so much contact and resources that you have to make sure that your students are learning, understanding, are able to analyze it, and are able to comprehend it. So I feel like, you know, that, you know, and you have to have a passion for what you're teaching. So, you know, so that's my conclusion. Like, you have to have a passion, so you know what, you know, you like doing, so they know the subject that you like teaching. You know, it goes both ways. You educate yourself on how to do things, and you are educating them on the subject and, you know, how they're going to learn this material. Connecting ideas and course content. I believe that we discussed in the things that we discussed in class and that we saw on the videos really applied, because in the videos we saw formative and summative assessments. Like we will see teachers putting their students into groups, doing presentations, doing little final activities, and that really went hand with hand. Also, we talked about the diversity of the classrooms, and I feel like that's a very big one, because in the whole video, in the whole entire videos that we saw, is that there was a lot of diversity in these classrooms, and so many, like, different children have different opinion of everything. So we have to have an account of, what we need to do with that information, and put it together so we can be educated in it. Also, the California Standard Content, these videos showed that they would teach these stuff for like the English, math, and social science. Social studies. I feel like they teach this very well. It's basically all in the curriculum. So, their lesson plans, everything, their objective, it was very clear what they were going to teach that day. What I noticed during my observations that pertains to student and their community that addresses social justice, formative advocacy, and equity would be in the video, The Deeper Learning Through Students Voice Project. That teacher really be for their community and also for the equity, because he put these students into groups. He made them do a project. However, with this project, they are going to it was for charity, so they had to basically sell their education to these adults, let them know why it was important. He made them do posters, he made them finance, he made them actually get really creative with this, and and this helps a lot with their equity, because this is a way of how they're going to represent their group, how they're going to talk to these other adults, and how are they going to represent their project. So this is that video of the project was very convincing for this. The surprises that I viewed as a result of my observations would be that mostly all the time students were participating with their teachers were saying. Like, there was always a back and forth conversation. So I feel like that's what surprised me. They always had positive attitude. They always reciprocated that same passion. What I learned about the teaching a diverse group is that teaching diverse group is that everybody has a different opinion and has a different topic, and like for their feedback and stuff like that. So the teachers learn a lot through that, and also the teachers, because they have a different topic from a different background from these students, they're able to educate the students, and they go back and forth, and there's more participation and there's more ideas for that day.